Hello, my name is Ann Lynch, and I would like to share with you a presentation created by the Level Invasive Plant Prevention Committee regarding a topic very important for all of us. If you would bear with me and share the next approximately 12-15 minutes of your time to learn about a very important topic, and that is about the risks presented to Kezar Lake by invasive plant species. Kezar Lake and the watershed is under threat. Every year, invasive aquatic species infest water bodies closer and closer to Kezar Lake and the watershed. These come in as small fragments, sometimes larger fragments, but mostly small fragments, clinging to watercraft, trailers, fishing equipment, paddles, even kayaks. These particles can be wet or dry, doesn't matter. Once they're in the lake, they can root themselves and infest the water body. Courtesy boat inspectors just last summer, in the summer of 2021, found 4 fragments. These were 4 very near misses and represent a 300% increase over previous years. As you can see by this map of Maine, many water bodies in Maine are infested. In fact, infestations are occurring in water bodies throughout the United States and Canada, and they are coming closer and closer to Kezar Lake and its watershed. Variable leaf milfoil is a primary threat, but there are several. And in fact, Chinese mystery snail has been found in Kezar Lake, and vigilance is being dedicated to that as well. In New Hampshire, variable leaf milfoil, again, presents a great threat, but there are many that are encroaching on our area. Close to home, Cushman Pond just ended a 27-year fight. The invasive plants were found in very early on in the process. There were solitary or very small little outcroppings that could be eradicated, but it was a 27-year fight. And this doesn't mean that Cushman Pond couldn't be reinfested. Long Lake and Brandy Pond, Sebago Lake, Ospey River, Bryant Pond, Lake Arrowhead, Thompson Lake, all of these are currently battling invasive plant species. I'd like to share with you a brief video that was created at Collins Pond in Windham, Maine.
About 10 years ago, we first discovered milfoil growing in Collins Pond, and the rate of growth was alarming.
An invasive plant that has been brought here from other places, and it just comes in and it takes over.
Every time that propeller, paddle, or turtle swims through a strand of milfoil, it creates fragments, each fragment capable of rooting and growing a separate plant.
Infested the pond in front of my house to the point where I can't swim.
It's rugged. It's a rugged invasive plant. It doesn't belong here. It has no natural predators of any sort. Milfoil is indigenous to the southwestern United States. It is propagated through fragmentation. So any prop, paddle, or turtle that swims through a strand of milfoil breaks it up, and the plant roots wherever the fragments land. I mean, the word we always use is invasive. It is a foreign plant that how it got transported here. One of my understandings is that it was moved to use in aquariums because it's very rugged. It just doesn't die. It likes to live. And people that have aquariums, they don't want to be growing plants. They have fish that they take care of. So the aquariums have brought this. It's a plant that just is rugged.
The courtesy boat inspector is trained to look for any kind of invasive plants on boats, on trailers, even fishing equipment, and any kind of boats that get moved from lake to lake, which is another way of carrying the invasive plants.
Being indigenous to the southwestern United States, there is not the disease, insect, animal, or growing cycle that controls it in the Northeast. So the plant is growing rampant in lakes and ponds around the Northeast. About 10 years ago, we first discovered milfoil growing in Collins Pond. And the rate of growth was alarming.
I know about it because it's infested the pond in front of my house to the point where I can't swim.
And as I said, it's a statewide, regional-wide problem. So we looked around at what other ponds and lakes were doing and found that at that point, Little Sebago had built a dash boat, diver-assisted suction harvester. Emphasis on the diver-assisted.
So far, we have spent a year and a half just setting up the boat.
That is basically a pontoon boat that's stripped out, equipped with a compressor and pump, a trough, and a hose, which goes down to the pond or lake bottom.
I mean, we got a pump system that was designed for mining, for dredging, and it has been kind of converted for this suction operation.
The diver goes down to the bottom of the pond, pulls the milfoil up by the roots, because again, we don't want to cause fragmentation and cause plants to grow elsewhere. Brings the plant up by the roots, feeds it into a hose, which has water pumped up to the boat. The water goes through a trough, it goes down through net bags, the water drains back into the pond, and the milfoil is captured in the net bags. We actually feed the plants to the suction is just more of a handling on the plants to get it out of the water with minimal breakage. I mean, if you try to pick up these plants and put them in a bag, and that becomes a very tedious process and very much more time consuming than it is as it is right now. It's a continuous process. We are harvesting it in a continuous fashion, and the suction harvester assist on keeping the fragments down. Collins Pond is a relatively small pond, no more than 20 feet at its deepest point. Unfortunately, that is ideal growing conditions for milfoil. Milfoil requires sunlight. It likes shallow water. It can root in any substrate, sand, silt, rock.
Directly in front of my house, there's always been, from upstairs, I could see the entire area of the bottom of the pond. And I sort of send fish, but the fish. I can no longer do any of that. All I see is red.
The reason many of us live here is because of the recreational opportunities that the pond provides. Kayaking, swimming, fishing. These are the type of things that are threatened by milfoil.
Prevention is essential. As you heard, milfoil grows in less than 20 feet of water. Thus, the upper and middle bay perimeters of Kezar Lake and most of Thompson Lake are at risk. They all meet that threshold of less than 20 feet of water. The entire area of Kezar Lake's lower bay, all of Heald Pond, Cushman Pond, Horseshoe Pond, and the Watershed tributaries are threatened. The Clean, Drain, Dry initiative is a program created for educating folks about how to inspect their own watercraft, to try to increase participation by the general public in observing their watercraft, their fishing equipment, paddles, boat trailers, making sure that they are cleaned and free of all particles of plant growth, inspecting them and cleaning them off of all invasive species. Kezar Lake Watershed is counting on each of us. The invasive aquatic species that enter a water body can kill it. Invasive species can also drop property values and tax income for the town of Lovell for certain if our water bodies become infested. Invasive aquatic species can ruin our recreational joy. Let's face it, no one wants to swim or kayak or paddleboard or do anything in those waters choked by invasive plants. And harvesting is not a one and done. Oftentimes, harvesting has to be done on a repeated basis to keep plant growth down, making the water body usable for recreation. So we're counting on you to do your part. For more information on how you can help, well, start with contacting the Level Invasive Plant Prevention Committee, or LIPIC, on their website, www.lipic.org, or by email, lipic125@gmail.com. Please have your watercraft and your trailers and your fishing equipment inspected by the courtesy boat inspectors. They will be populating the Level public launches and be there to assist you in doing an inspection and also teaching you on what to look for. On your own, make it a priority to inspect your own your own watercraft and your own equipment, to clean it, drain it, and dry it. Any watercraft or trailer or fishing equipment that moves from one body of water to another poses threat. If those items are staying in one body of water, it's not a problem. But it's when they're moving from one body of water to another that the invasive species can be transported and cause infestation. While you're on the waters, please start inspecting the shoreline and the shallow water areas. Become informed about the native species versus the invasive species. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can contact one of the courtesy boat inspectors, contact LIPIC by emailing us, letting us know where you inspected or cited something of concern. Also, the marina has great staff who can be very helpful. Also, please educate visitors and renters about this topic. It is really important that folks visiting our area become as informed as the residents are. To donate your time, please go to the LIPIC website to sign up. It would be great if you wanted to become a courtesy boat inspector or a LIPIC steward. For monetary donations, those are gratefully accepted, and checks can be sent to LIPIC via the Town of Level. It is a committee under the umbrella of the Town of Level, P.O. Box 125, Level, Maine. I mentioned courtesy boat inspectors. These are specially trained volunteers who help educate the public and help do actual inspections. Also, LIPIC stewards. This is a group of volunteers who keep eyes on the water whenever they are out and about or take on an area of responsibility to patrol and monitor for any invasive species. A special thanks needs to go to Jeff Turish, who created the video on Collins Pond. Also, information was pulled from the Maine and New Hampshire Department of Environmental Protection websites. Special thanks to the volunteers of the Level Invasive Plant Prevention Committee and to the Level taxpayers and private donors who have helped fund LIPIC. Thank you so much for your time, your attention, and for becoming involved and invested in this topic. We are in your debt for sharing your time and for, in advance, helping us prevent invasion and infestation of Kezar Lake and the watershed. Thanks again.